Can you hear me? Okay. So my name is Otto Spijkers. I work here at the Erasmus Law School. I don't really have any particular expertise, but I am one of these concerned faculty members of Erasmus University Rotterdam. And I actually did visit Beerside University in 2018 when there was a conference organized about climate justice. So these are some pictures of my time there. It was spring, so everything in bloom. And I also met one of the speakers there. Not sure if he still remembers me. But yeah, those were different times, I guess. So these are some photos that I took myself. And at the time, our stay was financed actually by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So they provided us with funding to finance this visit. So I'm an international lawyer. That is my expertise. And yeah, my main interest and main involvement in what is going on is that, yeah, I blogged and also assisted a little bit in this litigation by Oxfam and the Rights Forum and Pax against the Netherlands in regard to the supply of F-35 weapons parts to Israel. So there was first a ruling at the district court, and then on 12th of February of this year, of 2024, the Court of Appeal ordered the Netherlands to cease all the export and transit of F-35 fighter jet parts to Israel, and they had to do so with immediate effect. Well, they were given 7 days to implement the ruling. So the Dutch government, they agreed to abide by this appeals court judgment, but at the same time, they immediately announced that they would appeal the decision, so go to the Netherlands Supreme Court. So they are now preparing to go to court. And then, of course, the Rights Forum and Pax and Oxfam, they will have to answer. Basically, what the Netherlands is challenging is the right or the authority of the court to influence or rule on foreign policy in this way. So one issue that I wanted to flag in this context is the fact that the appeals court did not really engage with any of the claims related to allegations of genocide. Even though the Genocide Convention was part of the basis of the claimant's argumentation. So this is an issue of interest, and yeah, I find it personally a bit regrettable that there was no reference to these allegations of genocide and failure of the Netherlands to prevent the commission of genocide. But yeah, given other international legal developments on allegations of genocide happening in parallel with the proceedings before the Dutch courts, that is unfortunate. And of course, these proceedings happening in parallel, I'm referring to these cases before the International Court of Justice, also based in The Hague. So there is a case initiated by South Africa against Israel. Proceedings were instituted at the end of December, and South Africa was also asking for a order on provisional measures, which was granted. So South Africa was asking inter alia for the courts to order the State of Israel to immediately suspend its military operations in and against Gaza. But in January of 2024, the court indicated different provisional measures, one of them being that Israel must take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of genocidal acts, that Israel must ensure with immediate effect that its military does not commit any such acts itself, to prevent and punish direct and public incitement to commit genocide, and to enable the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And interesting, in the last provisional measure that was ordered, even the Israeli ad hoc judge voted with the majority. And Israel was also obligated to submit a report to the court detailing how it complies with this ruling. And of course, there is also these advisory proceedings at the ICJ, in which Palestina also sent a legal team, a delegation, including Philip Stans, a notable international lawyer. Yeah, finally, I want to say a little bit about double standards, especially at universities. And then I wanted to compare statements that were condemning Russian aggression, rightly so, committed against Ukraine, and then the lack of such statements when it comes to Gaza. So if you look at Ukraine first, yeah, only a few days after the intervention, the president and, bless you, the president and the board, somebody was sneezing, I have to clarify for our Palestinian friends. So the president and the board of the European Society of International Law wrote, and I quote, "The Russian Federation is squarely responsible for this act of aggression against its neighbor and the decision of President Putin to wage war on a sovereign, independent Ukraine is criminal," end of quote. And the same European Society of International Law has not yet issued a statement in relation to Gaza. Utrecht University issued a statement condemning the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Even some publishing houses like Brill Publisher, they issued a statement on their website. And they did not just issue statements, they also followed up with deeds. So many universities, they began to help legal scholars from Ukraine who had been affected by the war. And so different funding schemes were made available to assist those Ukrainian scholars. And at the same time, bless you, and at the same time, these very same academic institutions, they all ceased their cooperation with Russian research institutions that did not openly and publicly condemn the war. And so not just statements, but also follow up with deeds. And then if you look at Gaza, well, the situation is very different. Most of the universities just remain silent. But I want to focus now on Leiden University. So I also work at Leiden University. I have a part-time contract here at Leiden. And the president of the executive board at Leiden University, Annetje Otto, she was recently interviewed, and one question that was put to her is, after the war in Ukraine began, Leiden University strongly and immediately condemned the Russian invasion. So why did Leiden University do so then, and why not now? And her reply, and I just quote, because I don't want to misinterpret her words, the big difference from that conflict, so Ukraine, is that almost our entire academic community was united behind Ukraine. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has sown a lot of division internally. So speaking out on this issue would only cause more polarization, end of quote. But you can disagree with this, right? You can also argue that, in fact, in order to prevent and to curb further polarization, you need to speak out. But you just need to choose your words carefully. You can issue a statement on Gaza without unnecessarily offending anyone. And it's not difficult to make a non-polarizing statement on Gaza. You can just reiterate the facts, and even that would be helpful. So if you want to know how this is done, some universities did issue a statement. For example, Ghent University, or Ghent in Belgium, did issue a statement. And also, in a way, to a certain extent, followed up with deeds. At least Ghent University acknowledged that making a statement is the first step, and then we need to look at our ties with Israeli institutions, check all of them and see whether we can still continue this cooperation. So that this statement was already made at the end of November in 2023, so that all is very promising. But then if you look at the situation now, yeah, maybe it's a bit less encouraging. So Ghent University is still considering which ties with Israeli institutions to cut off. So they're still working on it. But at least they issued a statement and they declared a willingness to look at these ties. And a lot of Dutch research institutes and universities are not even willing to go that far. I think that is what I wanted to share. Did I stay within the 10 minutes? Okay. So, thank you.